Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're posing the question, is Bangkok supposed to become Branson? And before we get into it, there may be some viewers who don't know what Branson is. So I'm talking about Branson, Missouri, or Missouri, depending on where you come from. And, coming from Kansas, Branson was a place as a kid I went to quite a few times. It's a very family-oriented place. There's nothing wrong with it. I want to be very clear. There's nothing wrong with Branson, Missouri. However, I remember a Simpsons episode years ago where Bart was talking to someone about Branson, and he said, well, my dad says Branson is what Las Vegas would be like if Ned Flanders ran it. And Ned Flanders was kind of a goody two-shoes kind of guy. And, Branson is a very family-oriented place. This is not a knock against Branson. But the reason for this video is, I read an article the other day that kind of begged the question in my mind, is Bangkok supposed to become the Branson of the East? So the article in question is titled, Thailand Road Carnage. We'll throw this up. Thailand Road Carnage, more booze bans and checkpoints needed. Look at lockdown success. The notion of lockdowns being a success, I have real problems with that notion. In any event, let's go ahead and quote. This is from ASEAN Now. That's ASEANnow.com. That's LegacyThaiVisa.com. Quoting directly, Rungarun Limlahapan of the Thai Health Promotion Foundation said that Thailand needs to look at the lessons of lockdown from last and this year when road death stats dropped 10% and more. Okay. Quoting further, she said that measures introduced in last year's lockdown, banning alcohol, led in part to far less deaths on roads. Okay. Now, this is ASEAN Now making a commentary. I don't mean to laugh, but I just kind of found this whole thing kind of funny. Quoting further, ASEAN Now notes that far less traffic on the roads did not appear to be a major part of Rungarun's quote-unquote analysis. And what they're getting at there is, yes, I'm sure road death stats dropped by 10% because no one was out. During many of these lockdowns, nothing was happening. So, yeah, of course, that seems self-evident to me that you would presume that there would be far less road deaths if no one's on the actual road. That seems self-evident to me. Okay, and this article, again, ASEANnow.com, there's a lot more in there. I urge folks to go check that out. But they also sort of get into the alcohol thing. And yeah, there's going to be far less deaths from alcohol-related road deaths because no one could drink and no one was driving around. It just wasn't happening. It really all stems from this notion that, do we need a nanny state? Are we adults or not? I personally, and I'm not saying, in this notion of it, do we want to live in Branson? Do we want to live in a place where there's no alcohol, it's all banned, and, we're supposed to live the pure life or whatever? And people that want to do that, that is fine. And the thing I've always loved about Thailand, and I'm scared of losing in Thailand, is Thailand is a very conservative country. People don't really understand that especially those that only see this country from the outside. I would say high 90 percentile, 98, 99% of Thai people are very conservative. And in fact, I can't tell you how many people, it's a staggering number in Thailand, that just don't drink. Just for one example, they don't drink alcohol in their day-to-day. That's just not what they do. Thais are very conservative the vast majority of Thais, I should say, are very conservative in the way that they live their life. Now, at the same time, and this is something I've always found beautiful, this kind of interesting dichotomy, is they're simultaneously some of the most tolerant people on the planet. In fact, I would go out on a limb and say they might be the most tolerant people out there with respect to how other people live their life. And what I'm saying is live and let live. That's very much inherent to the Thai philosophical paradigm, if you will, just inherent to how Thais see things, in my opinion, that, look, this is what I'm doing, this is what I believe, but you know, if you want to do this, if you want to go have a beer, I don't like beer. I don't like alcohol. You know, if you want to drink your wine, have at it. You know, but that's not for me, and that's fine. This notion that we need to be locking down and nanny-mindering everybody because you know, it could cause road deaths or whatever else. You know, look, people die. There is inherent risk in life. And we've talked about this. I'm not going to go into a lot more detail, you know, doing cost-benefit analyses and stuff. But the point is, I did not move to Branson. I moved to Bangkok. I want to live in Bangkok. You know, and the Bangkok that I moved to and the Bangkok I came to, the Bangkok I love, one of the elements of that is people have the choice and the right to choose to have a drink. Do they have the right to go out and drink and drive? No, and we need to do something about that. I don't disagree with that. But this, yeah, let's, you know, it's like using a mallet to swat a fly. This notion that we should just keep up the alcohol ban forever and learn from the lockdown successes in this regard. I just disagree with that. I find that fundamentally to be the wrong way to think about these issues.